It's an honor to catch up with this guy, Timmy K, live from Bermuda. Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. I can't complain. I'm in paradise.
You are in paradise. I've been there before. It's a sweet trip, and you're caddying this week for Chandler Blanchet. We were just talking about that off camera. Is it Blanchet? Is it Blanchet? I was thinking about last year's winner, Lucas Herbert, a bear. I don't know.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. He's an Aussie with a French name.
Right.
I just caddied for Daniel Gale in Albuquerque, second stage of Q school. Uh, then I went on to Marietta and caddied for the old mate Stephen Allen.
Oh, I
Stephen,
saw that.
yeah, I'm saying Stephen. He's not Stephen. Stephen Alker is. He goes by Stephen. I'm
on
just
a on a great run.
showing you
Yeah,
my mind.
Steve Allen had the old wrenches out still, right? I mean, you were
Oh
tweeting
yeah, yeah.
those.
Look, one of my buddies commented like, was Edward Scissorhands caddying for him lately?" But he's just one. He's an old school like Jesper. He never used head covers. He used to have a hybrid, one of those OG tailor-made hybrids, and it was so worn down. It looked like he had buffed it off and made it
Yeah,
silver, but he just had it so long it
yeah.
turned silver.
Yeah, I saw that. So, hey, you were telling me before too. You're in the middle of a 10-week run right now, which is epic. Just how are you feeling right now going to this week? It's a nice walk out there this week. It's just the adventure of TK
Yeah,
continues.
no, it look, I've done it before. I've probably done longer stretches. I think it's just I'm showing my age. I still feel like I'm 18, 19, 20 when I kind of really got into caddying and got into, golf and just all the history of golf. And I'm still on this journey. And then it's just reality is I'm 41 now. And uh, yeah, when you're on a 10-week run and you're in, I don't know, I've lost track of how many time zones I've bounced back and forth, five or six. And yeah, it's been a good run. It's been a
Yeah,
great. I've
yeah,
been with really talented players and really interesting characters, and then yeah, just the places I've been have been special. And then
yeah,
now I'm in Bermuda, which
yeah.
is it was totally unexpected. I got the call from Chandler. He Monday qualified. It was an off-site Monday in Orlando last Monday. I'm in. I actually my alarm was set for 6:30 to get ready to drive down from where I was staying 30 minutes away from Marietta to go do the first round of Q school last week and Tuesday. And at 6 a.m., I get a call from Chandler. And I think I had seen that he had Monday, but again, I'm getting back to the room and passing out just about every night and then getting up and doing it again. That's just the motion
Mm-hmm.
I'm in right now. But yeah, Chandler called. And I guess I had seen on his story on Instagram that he made it, but he called and I wasn't awake. But then he's like, "Yeah, can you make it to Bermuda like you on the bag?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." I mean, there's no hesitation.
That's great.
Anytime you have an opportunity on the PGA Tour, especially in my shoes where I'm kind of freelancing right now, I'm kind of not really sure what my next opportunity is. Yeah, this is great. And yeah, the PGA Tour is where it's at. Obviously, there's a lot of other stuff going on in the golf world, but we all know, when the call comes, you make it happen. And
Absolutely, it's a great opportunity this week because it's a full field but full purse. I mean, the winner's going to the Masters,
sure.
$8 million purse, whatever. I mean, like it's not just an opposite field event this week. You had your first trip around the golf course today. I think I saw a picture of
hmm
your guy warming up on that range. What a beautiful range they have there. It's a nice view. It's not worth a darn much other than that. But what
Yeah,
were your initial thoughts of the golf course?
downhill ranges that well, today we were hitting straight into the wind. It's just
Yeah,
is I'm sure if it blasts 50 or 60, the guys can start hitting some fun trick shots. But no, I mean it's a cool course. It's not overly long, and it doesn't have to be because the wind
mm-hmm.
blows. It's got a lot of elevation changes and dog legs, um, but we're uh, we're we're excited for the week. And I mean, he's not intimidated. This guy's been working his way up the ladder since college. I mean, growing up in Gainesville, University of Florida. I mean, I don't really have any affiliation with University of Florida, but they whiffed. They had a homegrown kid who they didn't recruit. He ended up going to West Florida, a small little school, and learned how to win, learned how to, be a competitive golfer, and won the Jack Nicklaus Award. And then he's won on the Latino Tour in Brazil, and he's had the last 3 years on the Korn Ferry Tour. So,
Yeah.
This is his first PGA Tour start, but it's all part of his process and his maturation. So I'm excited to be there with him, just because we get along great. And again, he gave me the call because he wanted somebody on the bag that was familiar with him.
Yeah.
And when we've had some success together too, so that's where I know he's ready because I've seen him and yeah.
Well, it's a nice. You guys are a nice dark horse pick down the board, or somebody's trying to like balance out their fantasy lineup. Like you guys are down there, you can pluck them in and know that you're getting a good duo. The weather looks kind of crazy this week. What's the word on the grounds, and how do you approach the weather forecast? I mean, you're going all over the world. You're caddying for all these different people. Are you a guy, Jesse Birch? Good friend Jesse Birch. He used to just. He said, I don't look at the forecast. I get up that morning, I look out the door, whatever it is that day. I don't get all caught up in what it may be, but I know that there's some stuff in the area this week. Are guys talking about the weather? What's your approach to the weather out there?
There was already a couple showers. They weren't anything. It was actually kind of pleasant, particularly for me because I've been in the desert for the last 3 weeks. So it's kind of nice to just sweat it out and have some moisture on my skin. Yep. But I don't know. You just you just have to take it. It is unpredictable. I've been to the Bahamas a few times on the Korn Ferry Tour, so I don't know. You can't really protect yourself from it. If it's blowing 50 miles an hour and it's raining, an umbrella is not. It's actually probably more of a nuisance than not.
Yeah, that's true.
Other than maybe you can just somehow protect yourself from the gale force winds. Yeah.
No, it'll be a challenge out there, but you're right. That's what makes that golf course. It'll be fun. A few more questions. I guess we mentioned you started this 10-week run at the US Am. You've been caddying on the ladies tour, Korn Ferry, Q schools. Now you're on a PGA Tour event.
I went from LPGA with a rookie who then got reshuffled, and we went down and did some Epson Tour, which was actually I enjoyed that because I got to go to some places that were really interesting. El Dorado, Arkansas. There's a little hidden gem of a golf course called Mystic Creek. We got to check that out for a few days, and then we went to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and anytime you're in a college city, it's a good time. I guess all of that is kind of what's keeping me energized is just having the opportunity to go to some really cool places, and I hope it doesn't stop. Yeah. I'm willing to keep it going wherever it takes me next.
Yeah. What's the thread that runs through them all as a caddy for you? I mean, you're showing up on different people's bags, but the job's the same. What's the thread for you on caddying?
It's the competition. It's helping these players and being involved in their decision making. That's what really I love about caddying and being on the course with these players and having a relationship. I do like knowing my player and having the respect of my player, and a lot of the players that I work for are really good people. Particularly, and a lot of people that know me know that I've had a pretty good relationship with Australians over the years, and the last 2 weeks were clutch because the Australians they're just so laid back, and they kind of realized, oh yeah, Tim's been run ragged, so we're happy to have you on the bag, but we'll let you kind of do your thing and we'll do our thing and we'll come together. And the Australians are just they're very good at doing that. Particularly, the Australian professional golfers. They've been trained well. They have good influences in their lives, good mentors. yeah, they're very connected, and they're fun to be around, especially when you get a couple together, maybe go have a couple beers or, go out to dinner. Yeah, they're characters.
They are.
They're
I've
they're
had
just great. They're just fun. They're just fun people, special people.
how you going?
Special play.
I've had some of my best times out on the road with the Aussies.
Yeah,
They are a fun bunch. Well, I gave you a local spot to check out this week. I don't know if you'll make it out into the surf. I gave you a food spot too. You love the local life
I
sampling it
do.
and stuff. What have you done so far? Do you have anything that you plan to do? What's your strategy for taking in the local life? Because you do it well.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing right now, and probably why I'm so tired is I'm walking 4 miles to the course, and well, I learned a little trick, or just when I used to go to the Bahamas on the Corn Ferry tour. Hitchhiking is just kind of a thing in these islands, and so I was like, yesterday, when I got in, I actually hitched a ride with. I'll drop his name because he's an old friend, Rob Streb,
Oh,
veteran
great guy.
PGA Tour player. He happened to be on my flight, and I was like, there's not a shuttle provided, but I'm going to figure out a way to not spend $40 on a taxi that's already overpriced.
Hmm.
And, there was a couple caddies I knew. There's a couple other players, but Rob and I go back about 10 years because he was good friends with a guy that, one of my favorite players that I worked for. He doesn't play anymore, but anyway, it was just, I had seen Rob in a few years. I'm always, I'll get a start or two here or there. I think the last PGA Tour event I did was with Andres Gonzalez in 2018,
Wow.
Napa. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I spent the last year and a half, most of that time on the LPGA. So that's kind of where my focus was. And now I'm kind of ready to, well, I already am. I'm already dabbling with the men again because
Yeah.
I like to keep, now that I've got my foot in the door with the LPGA. That was a good opportunity, and I don't want to throw away whatever I gained from that experience. But I also do like, bouncing around, just freelancing, free agent, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, to answer your question about the island, just getting on the street and walking, and I finally hitched a ride today, which was cool. That saved me 40 minutes of. I already walked 4 miles, and however many miles I walked on a hilly golf course and a challenging golf course. Yeah, I'm pretty spent, but I don't know. Sometimes when I get on the streets and just it calms me down.
Yeah.
It clears my mind, and then yeah, that's when I see the coolest stuff is
Mm.
because I'm slowing down. I'm not just trying to zip somewhere, just lay in my bed in the room, even though that is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Because I do like to take care of myself and listen to my body when it's telling me rest.
Right. Yeah, you need your rest out there. And the week's just getting started. What you love a good thrift store. I got a couple rapid fires for you. What's the best thrift store golf find so far this year?
It's funny you mentioned that. It actually just got destroyed. Rip. I found a whiskey decanter that was shaped like a persimmon driver, and then the handle was the stopper, and it had this cork. I got it for $2 at a Salvation Army in Temecula, right down the road from where Q School was last week. And I was once I saw it, I was like, this has to go to a specific player, Todd Dempsey. I don't know if you remember Todd, but
Yeah.
San Diego, just super chill, super laid back. I think he even skated with Tony Hawk, like growing up. Cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he didn't. His PJ Tour career fizzled out because golf's hard, but he also had a family, and I think he probably wanted to focus on that. And then so now he lives in Jacksonville Beach, and I don't know if you're aware, but he's making some unbelievable persimmon drivers.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so when I saw this thing, I was like, that's got to be in Todd's workshop. It'll be cool. He can entertain clients with it. So I've literally been carrying this through the airport. It took me 48 hours to get from I flew a red eye from Las Vegas on Saturday night, and I had a little bit of a slowdown in my travel just because there was all this paperwork that you had to fill out for to get into Bermuda, and PCR tests you had to take, even though they just waived all that stuff today.
Really?
But that's just the timing of it all and the
Right.
world we live in. So whatever, you got to do it if you want to be here, and obviously
Mm-hmm.
we all want to be here.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I mean, I was carrying it through the airport, and just it was so fragile. The thing was from it was probably from the 60s or 70s, and it was just a nice piece. It was kind of fun because I was like a conversation starter. Well, anyway, I finally got my way over to the golf course yesterday. I left all my stuff in there. I put just a couple like toiletries and a change of clothes and hoofed it over to my Airbnb. And yeah, well, I got back there today, and some guy had like knocked it over. I should have taken it with me to my Airbnb in hindsight, but whatever. That wasn't my focus last night. So yeah, it was shattered into a million pieces, and so yeah, I was like a little bummed about that, but it's just a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found this year. This year it wasn't really a find, but before the U.S. Amateur, I found a 1990 U.S. Amateur from Cherry Hills cashmere sweater on eBay that I bought for my personal collection, and so I've still got that with me. I wore that at the U.S. Amateur a few of the mornings. It was just the time of year when there was some cool mornings,
Yeah.
upper 50s or low 60s, so it was sweater weather, and uh, yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. That was Phil Mickelson's win at Cherry Hills, uh, which I don't know. It's cool. It's cool to acquire these. Well, I'm seeing you've got your classic golf
Oh yeah, I got my
sign.
flag here. But you got me something. You got me a Creighton Blue Jays mug.
Mhm.
You found here in Omaha when you were here. I don't
Yeah,
know, 4 years ago or so. Hey, that's part of the rotation here at home. So
I
I
love.
mean, I'm grateful for that. I
Well,
love that you do that for people that you know.
well, I still. I mean, I have been flipping or kind of reselling some things, but some of it's been on eBay. Some of it's just I'll throw something up on Twitter and see if there's any interest, or Instagram. Mostly on Twitter. I have fun with that, just with the followers that I've kind of
Yeah,
built up.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But it's cool to get things into the hands of people that will really appreciate it,
yeah,
or they might not know it existed, but they've got a connection. Like you've got your connection to Creighton, and I respect that. And so I'm like, if I see it, I've already made a connection with you, but the way I connect with people is I hear what you're into, or I
mm-hmm.
hear what like that's your school. So like if I see that, it's like, oh, that's perfect for Rat House.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what caddying's all about too. We were talking about that earlier. Like, what's the common thread here? You go from one player for a couple weeks to somebody else, and as caddies, we're chameleons. And if you have an authentic interest in that person, it
Yeah.
just makes for a really fun week, and it puts them at ease too, because all of a sudden they're thinking about good things, and they're not focused on their golf necessarily in between shots, and it makes for a really fun week.
Yeah, well, and that's why, I do like to go explore. It's not just to have stories. I mean, I do like to just learn about the place that I'm in, or just get amongst the people, because that's how you really experience, travel, and especially to foreign countries, is to interact with the locals,
Yeah,
and then yeah, I mean, especially with the Aussies, I mean, they like to hear your stories, or they like I wasn't even purposely doing anything, but it was weird. Like in Albuquerque, there was like 3 nights in a row where like I got asked to leave establishments for things that I didn't even do. Like I was dancing one night just because it was karaoke night. There was some good music, and yeah, there were 4 or 5 women out on the dance floor, and of course their men are just wallflowers sitting at the bar, whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. I'm feeling the groove.
yeah,
I'm feeling like dancing. So I went and danced.
getting out on the dance floor.
I know, I don't know if it was closing time or whatever, but like a guy comes up to me and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to leave." I was like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm the bouncer." I was like, "You're the bouncer?" He was like this skinny Asian kid, and I was like, "What's the problem?" He's like, "Oh, you touched one of the women." I was like, I can guarantee you that I did not touch any woman while I was out there. I know how to dance.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever, man, I'm out of here.
Well, maybe it was one of the wallflowers, significant others or
Oh yeah.
sisters or something. That
Oh,
could
it
have
was
been it.
clearly something like that because yeah, I got a little bit of information kind of as I was leaving, and yeah, you, you know what's up, but whatever. It was just again, but that was just I'm not afraid to tell that story because I didn't do
Yeah.
it wrong. It's just
Yeah.
that was what happened, and hey, I'll give that's just something to again lighten the mood. Q school is probably the most, especially second stage. I mean, it's like
Ooh.
you can cut a knife through the
Yeah.
tension out there.
Yeah.
Um,
How
but
about
it's just a golf
the
tournament. These are all just golf tournaments, and that's kind of Chandler and I's mentality. Just tee it up, play our game, do our thing that we've done because we've done it a lot together, and we've had a lot. We know what works, and he knows his game. So, and he even mentioned when we were on the putting green, just kind of warm after our round, just doing a little cool down stuff, and he's like, this feels like a Corn Ferry Tour event. It's obviously a PJ Tour event, like you said. It's a full field. It's got all the perks of a full field event. But I mean, we know that the Island Tour, usually are the weaker, the weaker fields. Where some of the the big time name guys, they've already played, a pretty intense schedule where they're traveling from, here to there, and Bermuda's hard to get to, so those guys choose not to play. So some of the fill-in guys get a chance. Some of the wily vets are out here, and look, they can catch fire in a bottle just like a Monday qualifier sponsor exemption. So
yeah.
we've all got a tee time. That's all that matters, and we're pumped to be here. It's going to be challenging. Like there's anytime you're in a foreign country, foreign golf is always there's just always wrenches thrown at you left and right, not just on the golf course, but just existing in a foreign country or in
Sure.
a place that you're not really that familiar is
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of the deal.
Well, last one, we'll get you out of here. You guys say you find yourself, unscrewing that flagstick on 18 on Sunday, and you've had some nice craft beers. You like to sample a craft beer as you travel around. If you could just have
I'm just going Heineken
one,
stuff. So
you're just going, yeah, straight Heineken. That's pretty safe when you're out of the country. That's a traveling beer. You see a lot of Coors Light too. But if you could just ship in a 6-pack, you just won. You ship in one 6-pack, your favorite 6-pack of the year would be.
oh man, I mean, I do love West Coast IPAs. Let me think. I'm gonna give a shout out. Just there's a brewery that just popped into my head in Berkeley, but I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue, so I'm gonna have to probably go with another one.
The one that I got into when I was on the West Coast in LA was Modern Times, and
Yeah, Modern Times, the great one. I'm really bummed that I can't think of them because they've got a tap room in Napa, and then they're out of Berkeley, and um, that just shows you.
tag us in it later.
I will. I feel bad because they deserve a shout out because their stuff is so good. I don't get it that often, but it's a. I don't. I was born out in Oakland, so anytime I can have like an Oakland beer, support an Oakland company or a Berkeley company, makes me feel like I'm, still staying connected to, my roots.
Totally. Well, hey, it was great to connect with you again, Tim.
Yep.
At TK Caddie, great follow on social media. You can follow Tim's adventures. And this week with Chandler Blanchet, wish you guys all the best this week.
Thank you.
Thanks for catching up, man.